Hello, everybody. I'm so tickled Marcia has her Pepsi. So that means we are ready to go. Hello, everyone. I am back from my week away. And I got to tell you, Mark said since I could get a discount rate on the room because of the Myrtle Beach Quilt Party, he said, go up there a couple days early and take it easy. It was the best advice because, especially when you're not used to it, it's a lot of work taking into the hotel all of your food and your clothes and your suitcases. And then when you have to take in the sewing machine and all your sewing supplies, that's a lot of work for a girl. So it was nice checking my hair. I don't know. It was nice, though, to have 2 days to kind of settle in before the class schedule started. I have to tell you, hi, Kathy Klein and Sonia. I had the best time. I had been getting nervous doing things since being stuck at home for COVID. And so I was wondering how I would feel. I had a blast. I was worried about being away from home. I've been so used to just being here. I had the best time. Just not hearing a phone ring, not hearing the dogs barking and needing something and jumping up and down for them. It was really wonderful. So if you have a chance to get away, if you're lucky enough to be able to do it, please do it. It is so worthwhile. And taking a class always gets me excited. Learning gets me excited. And then I'm really ready to come back and conquer the world. And that's really good. It's giving your creative spirit a chance to get revved up. And sometimes when we stay at home and we stay in our narrow little path that we all walk day after day, we can kind of lose some of that creativity. So I'm hoping that if you get any chance at all, go visit your one of your children or a friend or whatever. It really helps to get out of your little rut and refresh your spirit. So I was surprised. I actually think this was my very best Myrtle Beach quilt party. And this was like my 12th quilt party. So that's saying a lot. And I want to thank Mardell Smith and her husband, Jack. They do such work to put this on. And it was wonderful. It was really wonderful. And the Doubletree Hotel in Myrtle Beach by Hilton, Doubletree by Hilton, it was wonderful. And they're going to get ready, I heard, and do some renovations. But it was clean. It was well organized, well run. It was really nice. It was really, really nice. So I've had a busy week since I got back. Got back Sunday evening, and Monday spent time getting things unpacked because, I take a good amount and I like to put everything back in its place. And then Tuesday, I had to go get my sewing machine, which is 45 minutes away, to go get my sewing machine, bring it back, and get more things unpacked. So I had a busy day Tuesday. Then Wednesday, I got some things done around the house and then started working on the Thursday night landscape. That's what I did Thursday, too. Friday, I had a Mancuso virtual schoolhouse class, and I wasn't ready for it. And so I'm running around trying to gather up everything. I hadn't even, in the last month, 900 unread emails have piled up in my email. And this is after culling most of the things I used to get from email. So I didn't get the emails because I didn't read it with the class information. So, oops. And then, but I still managed. Luckily, this was my second class. This is with Bonnie Langenfeld, and she's wonderful. If you like she's all about landscape quilting, and using the fabric to really have the fabric do most of the work for you, but not in the way you would think. And then she's also all about thread painting to give shading, a sense of depth, and definition. So really wonderful class. I highly recommend it. She had a flash drive that she sold with her tips and tricks, and she's working on a second one. And this is going to have even more things, more flowers and things like that. And her work is amazing. So if you want to look her up, let me write it down here. She is Bonnie Langenfeld, and she's out of Florida. Lovely lady and really good teacher. Puts you at ease. I don't know. She has a great way of speaking, a great way of pacing her classes. I was very impressed. Well, I guess while we're talking about her, would you like to see what I did in her class Friday? And I used her recommendations. Well, let me show you first what I got from her. And there will be another Mancuso virtual schoolhouse in May. So they haven't released the teachers and the class names, but be on the lookout, because sometimes these classes fill up fast. And you might say, well, how can it fill up if it's online, if it's virtual? Because there are only so many spaces in a good Zoom call without it getting just too unmanageable. So when you get the word that the classes are open, scoop in. The classes are very reasonable. This class was $65, I think, and then the $20 or whatever registration fee. Yes, $65 plus you pay a registration fee, and that's to cover Mancuso's work and paperwork. And when you take the class, there is a person from Mancuso there moderating, kind of being, what do they call them, a producer of the show, to make sure the camera angles and the drop downs and all of that. So she takes the work off of running the class so the teacher can teach. So Mancuso puts a lot into this. But let me show you the paperwork I got first, and then show you what I did with it. And here it is, tips for beginning landscapes. Sometimes I can read things backwards, but sometimes not. Do you see that grid there? That grid is to show you that when you place items, don't just place something right in the middle. Don't just place something always right on the edge. Things usually look better when they're kind of a little offset. If you put something right in the middle, then the eye doesn't move around the work. So you kind of want to entice people to look around the work. So remember that grid when you're setting up items, okay? So you can see the trees just off this side of the grid, the little houses off that side of the grid, and this pathway unites the two. All right? Then here is a handout she gave us to just kind of help teach us about drawing out our landscape. Then here are some she has done. And remember, everything, the fabric is the basic background, and the fabric is for the house and the tree trunk. But everything else is thread work, okay? The flowers, the leaves on the tree, it's all thread work. Okay. But I'm going to teach you some of the things that she, especially at our there's a drawing, just kind of trying to get the idea of how you want to lay it out. This one really struck my attention. What I want to tell you is there are only 4 green fabrics in here. So the faraway mountains are lighter because things in the distance get lighter and more gray. They become darker and more vibrant up close to you. So this second fabric, the color variations are part of the fabric. Hi, Pat Fry. But look at the shading she did with these bushes. Those are threadwork bushes. Look at the flowers. They are lovely. But there's only 4 green fabrics. One fabric. This is all one fabric. So that's 2 up top, then a little piece there, and then all this is one fabric. So what she did, I had picked out fabrics for the classes. Once I listened to her give that spiel again, it was like, oh yes. So during our break, first break we had, I came down and got all different fabrics because I realized I really wanted to practice her method of using creative fabrics and looking for where you want to cut it out. Don't just cut out the next available space. Look at it. Look at where you want your shading, where you want your lights and darks, and use the fabric to help build the landscape. Here is the first thing I received about taking the class. Some of the same things on there. But please remember something. When you take a virtual class, you're not paying for gas. You're not paying for parking. You're not paying for a hotel to stay overnight. You are able to stay in your home, use your sewing supplies. You can get a kit if you want, or you can use your own fabrics. This time I decided to use my own fabrics. She also, this is one of the handouts they sent by email, just trying to help you if you're a little nervous about drawing a pattern and giving you some ideas. But she also loves for you to change it up, turn it into yours. She just gives you kind of the guardrails and the basic information, and then how you use it is your decision because it is your quilt. And you can see on here, I played around with different ideas during class. You see, I drew the grid system that she talked about, which also means on that grid system, about 1/3 of the way down is a good line for the horizon. Then maybe the bottom 3rd line is good for water. Just to kind of help you. If you're one of those people that gets a blank piece of paper and it's kind of deer in the headlights, the grid, remember that grid system because it can kind of take the pressure off of you. Then we also got this handout sheet of all the supplies we needed and giving us hints. Don't use shiny thread, which, you know, a lot of times on landscapes, I use shiny thread. So now, after telling you all that, please remember that this is my second, Carol is here. This is my second class I'm taking with her. And I also worked on this extra hours that day and finished up the thread painting yesterday. Let me trim off a little messies here. So, because I'm right tickled with this. I told Mark, you know, this is just a class quilt. So this is a learning quilt, but I love it. So I'm going to enjoy it. So here is my version of this landscape. Now, I want to show you that the first water, oh, thank you, Laura. The first water, I just picked a Jenny Beyer blue. I came back down and got a striated ombre, and it made a big difference. Now, I'm going to show you a little closer how I did thread painting to highlight it. So I picked a section of that blue that had a lighter top so that it would look like reflection on the water. Oh, thank you, hon. I tell you what, it really pays. I told them about my YouTube channel and I said, you know, I love teaching the ladies, but by taking classes, I can help build my skills and my knowledge base so I can give you the best information I can, because it means a lot to teach you some of the best skills. So, okay, let's look at that path. I wanted these on this side because I am going to go back in and do some more wildflowers in the meadow. But I wanted to get a little extra depth with this path and have it go behind the tree. Well, thank you. Oh, there's Linda. Well, when I held it up near the end of the class, everybody was like, what? But see, I took her last class where I practiced the basics. So this time I felt comfortable to go right in with the real fabric, set it up, and every stitch she taught, I did it on here while she was teaching it, except for the palm trees, because I didn't have a palm tree on here. But so here is the pathway. And you'll see I took the thread, I used a sideways zigzag and had a grass buildup at the edge. And that helps because then you don't make the pathway look like it's floating. Okay, so I grounded it with a turned at an angle zigzag. I'm so proud of myself. I dropped the feed dogs this time. It did make a difference. It really, really did. And I think it's a little easier on my machine because I certainly didn't want to mess up my machine. So just want to tell you, I dropped the feed dogs. Now you have to remember, if your feed dogs are dropped, then the fabric only moves if you move it. So you've got to be prepared. Also, Mark, okay, sweetie. And you know, Jody, we'll be here, but also you can watch the rerun. But Mark was telling me, well, I know that the sewing machine repairman didn't want you pulling on the needle shaft because that's not made for that in a domestic machine. And I told him, I even showed him, I said, put your hand on the fabric while I do this. If you run your speed, your foot pedal at a high rate of speed, you won't believe the difference of how smooth you can move the fabric back and forth under your needle. So I guess when you run it so fast, there's a higher chance the needle is up in the air when you go to give it a little move. But you know, it can kind of feel like it tugs a little if you're moving, if you've got the foot pedal going slower. As soon as you speed it up, it's like it almost floats. So please remember that. All right. Then I like to use a strong needle. I use a 14 or a 16, like a top stitch. I love top stitch needles. They have a longer thread path, which is the carved out place for the thread. And so when you're doing that thread work, then to me, it helps the thread not break as often. Now, she uses universal or microtex. So whatever works for you, you go for it. Because a lot depends on your style, your machine. But what I wanted to show you is I added depth with that vertical zigzag in a color that was closer to the path design. Then I started coming in here with darker colors, because what I wanted to finally do was have shadows, a shadow where the tree is. Okay, and I'm hoping I did it. I think I might have to go out a little farther this way, but I'm learning and I'm practicing that with thread, because you can do it with fabric, whatever. But then let's see. The tree, I used a mottled brown fabric. And that's where this Thursday night for our landscape night, I'm going to go over the things she taught me about the fabrics. It kind of expands on what I started telling you and showing you last week. So, okay, but I did a mottled brown fabric. And then what I did is I came in with my dark thread. You have to decide, where is the sun coming from? So for me, the sun is coming from over here. And so if you look at my tree, This side where the sun would catch it has my lighter threads, but I still put some dark threads in there because you know how bark is uneven? Well, you're still going to have some dark areas where the bark is recessed closer to the tree. So, but I did wherever I thought the sun wouldn't hit, I used the dark thread. The medium kind of bridged between the lighter areas and the dark areas. So can you see some of the work? I did the dark thread to make a knot hole where I carved out the fabric. Then I did 3 colors of grass growing around the base to kind of make the tree feel. Oh, thank you. The camera has been working really good. Now, look at my leaves, okay? She said, put it on a zigzag stitch and move it around. And it's because your feed dogs are down. You put it on a zigzag. And what I did is I first used dark thread, very dark green. Then I used a medium green. Now let me pull my lamp over because this will show you even better. Then I used a medium green. Let me try to keep it still so I don't make you nauseous. A dark green, then a medium green, and the side that where I felt like the sunlight was hitting, I used a lime green. Now, on this side, in some places, I used a dull light green because I figured if the sunlight isn't hitting it directly, it wouldn't be as yellowy. So try to remember that. Also, to make it more realistic, the little tips of the leaves that are out there by themselves, I did the very light lime green because they wouldn't be shadowing themselves. So the tips are much lighter. See that? Then as I go down the tree, I don't have the yellow tips anymore because they're kind of shading. It's shading itself. Then, now I did 2 layers of a real heavy fusible kind of a buckram, and I find that really does help when the more thread painting you put on a work, the heavier you want your stabilizer to be. So then I took, while I was doing the thread painting on the tree, and all these little skinny branches like here, it's all thread painting. Isn't that cool? And you highlight those too, because it just makes them come alive. And who would think that you could do such good leaves on a tree with just thread? Now, it does use a lot of thread. So in some cases, I might want to put some fabric and do the thread painting over, because I can't afford to do one of these often because it uses a lot of thread. So anyway, now the good news is she doesn't use fancy thread. She often just uses Coats and Clarks, and you can get that on sale at Joann's. So that's a good thing. I'm going to be looking certain colors I'm getting a little low on. I'll be looking for Joann fabric sales. You don't have to have embroidery thread or fancy threads. So you use the color rather than just counting on the shine to give you the differences. Then now she didn't tell us to do this. I just did it. But I took 2 colors and kind of gave a little light definition to the mountains back there. And figuring that some things are tree lines on top of them. Then I did a row of trees on the other side of the little stream. And so where I wanted it to look like there was a little bit of a beach, I did a lighter green along there. Then I had a very mottled striated down here, but it was a little too strident. I mean, it went from dark green to a lime green. So then I took a different green and put it here because it was going to be really hard to have it look right. But I want to show you. Now, I did more thread painting than she probably does, but I really just wanted to go all out and see what I could do. Plus, I'm practicing stitching grasses, things like that. Then we did long grasses in the front. And as you get the further away from that area, the grasses have to be shorter. So don't do long grasses all over all of it, or you won't get that depth. So back in here, I just kind of did like this with the fabric going down. But let me show you some of that. And you notice I used a lighter green. And the reason I did the lighter green is to give that distance as well. But then I thought, okay, I don't want my water to look like it's just floating there. So I stitched a shoreline, but you can't really, because, you know, the land would kind of curve over into the stream. So what I did is I let some of the thread represent bushes or grasses, tall grasses that might grow near the edge. And I tried to be careful and not space them out all matchy. So you like the water? Oh, I'm so glad. And she does a zigzag, and she kind of goes like this and then back, like this way, this way, this way, kind of a stretched out zigzag of zigzag. And that gives a really good look for this. So if you're at all interested, go to her website and get on her newsletter. And then that way, when her, what is it called again? The card with all her information on it. When you can purchase that, you can grab it. She has none of the first number one left. So it's wonderful because you get, it's like having her right there beside you. That is wonderful. Also, if you take a Mancuso class, they told us within 2 weeks, the video of the entire class we took will be out and will be given to us, sent to us, the link. That's wonderful because I will have that class forever. I mean, could I give you better reasons for taking some virtual classes? So, but anyway, then I want to show you the flowers. They were so easy to make, whether you use straight stitch or a zigzag. There are the long grasses. Now, there is one problem. Don't look at this. I didn't want to have the grass too common, so I went horizontally. I'm going to pull those stitches out that show. Okay? Like it's going to be pretty easy to remedy. Let me show you. Because I didn't want them close. Well, what I should have done is cut the thread. But watch what I do really quickly, and you'll see I can fix this pretty easily. Okay. Just take a couple stitches out. So you can always do that then. If you want to travel with it, just stitch them, but just remember to just pick them out when you're done. Okay, almost ready to show you. And you remember, it looked like a bunch of U's. In fact, I'll leave one in here to show you. But, okay, I'm just going to pick those out. That's one of the reasons I went a little heavier than I'd planned, because I thought, how do I move? But I left this here. But see how I started picking these stitches out so you won't see big U's there. So you know what I mean about the shape of the letter U. Then I made sure to put little darker grasses stick as if they're sticking up in front of the lower area to just blend things in. Now I'm sure she could give you even better. I ran my zigzag up the middle of the path to make the path look worn and kind of, you know, having foot traffic for so many years. So anyway, does that give you any hints? I think I'd like to go back and put a bird in the sky, and I might go back with the ink tints and put just a hint of a little sun-ish looking yellowish over there. But otherwise, I'm going to sign it and be done. And I love this. Now, she frames hers, but I like to take and um, put backing on mine and quilt it, and then use fabric to make it look like a frame around the edge. So that was Friday. So please understand, it's been busy. But I think I wanted to get more done on my exploding heart quilt. It's hard. So anyway, I'm getting there, but I'm still, when I try to walk, I did so much walking at the Myrtle Beach quilt party. And while you're doing it, you think, well, I'm a little tired. But then you get home and your muscles contract because they're not used to that much walking. And so if I were smart, I would get out and walk around the neighborhood. But I've been trying to do lots of stretching to stretch these out. Now, you saw, if you belong to our groups IO, you saw the picture. Pat Fry came to see me. I mean, how wonderful is that? How lucky am I? And we sat on the little stone wall and just chatted, and it was so nice to see her. She looks real good. And, she had moved from Myrtle Beach up to Virginia. And in fact, this past weekend, I don't know if it was a grandson or son, James, I think, came and helped move furniture, get pictures on the wall. That's all exciting. But you know what I have forgotten to do? Let me check and see who's here. And then I've got piles of stuff to show you. All right. Plus your show and tell. All right. Thank you, Miss Linda. Gosh, getting a compliment from Linda is a high praise because she's amazing at this stuff. Okay, Laura's here, Jody, Marcia. I just wanted to say something. Saying Jody's name reminded me. I think this week Alex Anderson is having her double mastectomy. And I'm only telling you this because she's been very open. She's decided that if any of her experience will help other women, she's being very open with it. So keep her in your thoughts, please. And but because we want her back very soon. But she says she expects a very good outcome. She won't know if she is going to need chemo until they go in and actually see. But she's decided that she's not going to mess with it. The tumors were in both breasts, and she's going to have a double mastectomy. So I admire her and another woman on their brave journey. So just be thinking, keep her close in your thoughts. All right. So Laura, Marcia, Jody, Sonia, so good to see you. Let's see. I'm really pleased. So Kathy Klein, I'm so pleased so many people are here. Oh, our friend from in fact, you probably can't see it, but I have a Ukrainian flag on my front porch. I have a Ukrainian flag up behind this quilt, and it will stay there until their invader leaves the country and restores them to their whole self. So please, hello, and know that go Ukraine. We love them. We love every one of you. So let's see. Charlene Piper is here. I've seen that gift I was supposed to send to you, and I'm still going to do it. Don't give up hope. But it's so good to see you, Charlene. Cheryl Hogan. Hi, Cheryl. And then Pat Fry. Barbara Smith. Yay. Michelle Lang. I love my Michelle. I think of her every time I do something or do something new. I think of my Michelle. She is my muse. It's like she's sitting on my shoulder saying, you can do this, Deb. You can do this. And I love her to bits. Carol is here. And Linda McCollum, how exciting to see Linda on a wonderful Sunday. Oh, so let's see. This is great to see all of you. I hope I haven't missed anyone. While I'm talking about it, too, we have 2 new members on our group's IO. So BB is one of them, and the other is, I think, Robin. So I'll have to get on the site and say, welcome. So, but anyway, I'm so glad our group's IO is just building up members left and right. Quilt Lady. Oh, hi. Now, I met you at the Myrtle Beach, but now I'm going, Lisa, I'm so bad with names. You're going to have to give me more of a hint because I'm like, but I am terrible at names. Once I know you, then I know you. Oh, thank you, Carol. Yes, because I love our group's IO. We can post free patterns there. Information, tutorials, all of that. It's a good place to just stay in touch in between live streams. But Lisa, I'm so happy to have you here. All right. So I took a class, Exploding Hearts. And the reason I took this class, I know how to make half square triangles and quarter square triangles. But I knew if I didn't take a class, I think this is an exciting looking quilt. And if I didn't take the class, I know me. I can be a little lazy and I wouldn't get it done. And here are 3 other. You were sitting right in front of me. Oh, you're right. Hi, boy, this woman was amazing. She brought 3 machines with her to the show. One of them didn't work. She went back and got another one. I mean, she was the lady with the mostest. She had so many different tools and everything and did an amazing job. I don't know how she did it so fast. I think she's a cyborg and she doesn't sleep because she got so much done. And me, I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll get there. Hi, Mitty. There is no late here. There is no late. We love you being here. No late. Melissa Lamb is here too. This is great. I am loving this. Oh my gosh, we've got a good number of people. But anyway, I wish, you know what, Lisa, my email address is OurTimeToQuilt at twc.com. And if you send me a picture of your exploding heart quilt, I will show it during our show and tell next week, whatever. You don't have to rush and do it right now, but I would love. She did a beautiful white, like a white on white, tone on tone, and lovely shades of pink. And, you know, Deb, she's got to use, every color in the rainbow. But Lisa did a beautiful, delicate job. So we had to make these blocks. Now, this one was easy. Cut a 4.5-inch square. Then we had to do this one, which looks like an envelope. This one, which looks like an hourglass. This one, which is interesting. Then this, which is 3 sides of color. And then this one. And we had to do a bunch of them. Debbie is here. Oh, yeah. And, I think it's going to be interesting. I'm hoping it's going to look a little more festive. The fabric, when I was buying the charm packs, the fabric looked like it was begging to have this color background. But I think it's at that, how I tell you, every quilt goes through an awkward stage. I think it's a little awkward right now. But let me show you the fabric that's going to bring it all together. Do you remember when I bought this? It looks like a laurel birch fabric. But I think that when I cut this border out and put that border on that quilt, it's going to bring it all together. What do you think? Do you think it'll? Oh, good, Lisa, good. So I think Lisa's the one that says too she works 2 jobs. I don't know. I told you the woman doesn't sleep. I think she was secretly plugged in during the during the meeting. But anyway, I think that this border fabric will pull everything together. I'm hoping. That is my plan. So anyway, okay. So there we go. And I made almost, I don't know, I didn't officially add them up, but it was getting close to 200 half square, quarter square triangles. If we have time, I brought my scraps and I was going to show you how to make those just to give you a refresher, but that's if we have time. All right. So anyway, and I wanted to tell you, with my terrible arthritis, I'm getting, these fingers are wanting to stay bent and I'm having to work on them and wear braces. But I could not have done the thread painting without these. I could not have. And just to remind you, there was a lot of thread painting. So just to remind you that these gloves make things so much easier. And there are numerous different types of gloves that really help grip the fabric, because my hands were hurting so much. And I was in the middle of the class and Mark came in and said, "Can I get you anything?" And I said, "Can you go downstairs in my pink tote and get my gloves?" And once I put them on, number one, they keep my hands warm so my hands hurt less. Number two, it grips that fabric without you having to put pressure. Great. So here is my tag from the Myrtle Beach Quilt Party. And I finally remembered to leave the outer plastic piece and the cord so she doesn't have to keep buying new ones each year. Then we got a tote this year. And of course, you know, blue is my signature color. And in the tote, we had a pair of snips. We had a little seam ripper. And we had a glue stick. So, oh, and it's white. That's good. I always get purple. Did you know that the teacher from the Friday's class said that if you're sewing and you're using the purple glue sticks and you put an eye in, sometimes or some fabrics, the purple might not come out. So remember that. Then at the banquet we had on our last day, they gave prizes. Now they gave some incredible prizes, but I was just happy to win something. So I won this and this. And you know what? I can never have enough containers. So, and this is great because you can use this anywhere. So thank you. I was real happy about my prizes. All righty. Then, exciting stuff. And I realize I don't have all of my landscapes. Now, what I did is there were very few landscape fabrics as such, but there's a good reason for that. When I took my class Friday, Bonnie Langenfeld talked about, like, let's say this fabric. Everybody thinks they've got to have rock fabric. There's very few places you can really use that because the scale is wrong. Also, she was showing us on some of these fabrics, the way they're printed, you look to see which side is the sunlight and which side is the shadow. She showed us a sky fabric with clouds on it where the shadow was on the top of one cloud, but on the bottom of the one below it. That's physically impossible. And so she said, try to stick with models and batiks and things like that. But now I did buy this one because when you're doing a fall, see, it is not specific. It kind of looks like confetti. quilting, using and cutting up the fabrics. But I thought this would come in handy. I did want to buy some birch tree fabric. Now you can make your own birch tree fabric by using white strips of fabric, using ink tints to paint in the gray, and then a permanent pen like a micron to do the black dots. Then this, but sometimes it's nice to have a little, fun. I couldn't wait to buy this. This fabric came out this year, and I've seen quilt backings out of it. It is gorgeous. And this can be used for skies. This can be used for water. This is amazing. So I got 2 of those. So if some of you can't find your own and want me to cut a piece of mine in half, then, like I said, I'll just charge you what I paid for it and the postage. Then I know you're really not supposed to get grass because, is it going to be grass in the foreground or grass in the background? But you know what? Sometimes something like this is great for being in the shadows, out of reach. So once in a while, I still buy a grass fabric. Then this I bought because it mimics tree bark, but it's not really tree bark. But you know what? Depending on what size tree you need, that can do a really good job. It could also be a barn siding or an old house sitting out in a field. So when you look at fabrics, look at what it could be. I was getting low on tree fabric. As I showed you, I did not use a tree fabric at my class Friday, but sometimes I do like a good tree fabric. Now, what I liked about this is way too big for me to have used Friday because my tree was in the distance. But you could also, let me show you what you could also do. You could turn it into a rock. And you could, it would actually be this direction. So you've got the highlight at the top. That could be a wonderful rock. So when you're looking at fabrics, don't just look in close. Back up a little bit. Sometimes if you squint, it helps give you some distance. Here was a piece I went ahead and got. I have never cut a tree out of fabric, but this has some open branching. This you could use in a background of a forest. You could what I tend to do is just cut little bits of it out like that and use it in a forest. And some of these, but make your own trees. Just use this to make it a little bit easier. And then I don't know what you would call this fabric, but it could be rocks, it can be tree bark, it can be checked siding on an old house. The blue fabric, ooh, that's a good question. I've seen it at Keepsake Fabrics, but let me see. I don't know if I have an edge, but I know I saw it at Keepsake Fabrics in the 108 fabric width, which, heck yeah, I'd buy 108 fabric width of it. Let me see if this one has any kind. Now, I know I have more of these, but more of these because I bought 15. No, none of these have the maker, but it was at Keepsake Quilts, but I would look around, and if anyone knows the maker of this fabric, because it is gorgeous. Thank you, Marcia. All right, so that is, I have 5 more because this is only 10, but I have stuff everywhere from taking the class, from doing Thursday night. I will try to round up the rest, but just use a discerning eye. I love batiks. I love marbles. I love anything. And And you know what? You can get them cheap because the colors you want for landscaping aren't the popular colors. So then I went past a cute little booth, and she had Allison glass fabrics. And there's something about Allison glass fabric that makes me smile. So who would think of putting an olivey mustard with a bright green? Who would think of putting a pinky purple with a mustard? Isn't that great? So I bought these fat quarters, and I love them. I don't know. I don't think they're supposed to be batiks, but sometimes see the little marks makes you wonder. They might be batiks. But look at this. This is a purple with a light blue, kind of a purpley with a light blue. So I got those. And I like supporting the vendors when I can because they work really hard. If you could see these people coming in by themselves or with just one other person and unloading so much stuff, setting up what amounts to a mini shop for just that long weekend. And I told Mark this time, I've been really good about not spending money on fabric, but I said, I was in a good mood when I went this time. I sold $75 worth of stickers and necklaces and indigo fabric. So I said, I'm buying fabric. Oh, yay. So look what I saw. You know, I also love gardening, and caladiums are one of my workhorses. Look at this Cafe Facet fabric. It's from the Cafe Facet collection. Look at these. Are these incredible or what? And I think I showed great restraint because I only bought a yard. But isn't that amazing? I just love it. I have no idea what I'm going to do with it, but it makes me happy. So I got a yard of that. And then after I did good selling my little keep me busy things, I went back and got this. And this is Three Sisters, but it reminds me of French General. And you know, I'm an art quilter, but every once in a while, I will see fabric that makes me want to do a traditional quilt. So this is 12 half-yard pieces of Three Sisters fabric, and it is beautiful. And because blue is my signature color, and this only has one blue, I've already ordered a yard and a half of 2 different blues to come in with it. So I said, Mark, I'm sorry, but this is not complete until I get a little bit more blue. So, but anyway, I love that. And it just looks so pretty. Isn't that neat? I love how she does that. It leads to impulse buying for sure. Then when I came home, I got an email. You know how they do from Pineapple Fabrics. And it had a fabric for sale. And, well, I had a gift certificate to Pineapple Fabrics from one of our sweet, lovely members. And they had, that day, they had the Make It Mine on some Paula Nadelstern fabric. I mean, this is making the camera focus go nuts. It doesn't know where to focus. Is that the coolest thing you've ever seen? Whoa, I have no idea. I am a wild thing right now, but thank you to my benefactor who got me a gift certificate. This is what, let me see if I can easily find my mirror. I see fabric like this and I think, okay, it's pretty busy. I can make it even busier. So let me show you. I'm thinking, what kind of designs can I do? Have you seen one of these mirrors? You just take 2 mirrors and tape them together. And I bought this one. This is a Marty Mitchell. I bought it at least 10 years ago. But do you see what you can do? You can take just that little bit, and if you cut 6 exact wedges, look what you do. Isn't that neat? Now let's go to this orange. Oh, look at that. So when I see this fabric, I think that's what I want to do with it. Then let me move back here. Okay, that yellow keeps showing. Let's try this pink area. Whoops, I'm too close. Move back. But you just move it around and see what you see, because you'll never know. Oh, look at that. So this is what this fabric is going to probably become. Now, since you have to make 6 or 8 exact wedges, luckily this has a short repeat. But let me try to do something one more time with that orange triangle. But, oh, look at that. Let me move it back one. Oh, wow. Bring it in, move it out. Let me see if I were to turn it this way. Oh, that's cool. Look at all the designs you can do. And so by how far you open it will tell you how many wedges you have to make. And then you have to make sure that you mark them exactly. And what I do with that, to make sure I could mark, this is probably 1/6. You would need 6 wedges exactly here. What I would do is find exactly where I want, like put the mirror just right. Let me go ahead and show you this, because it's really not that hard. Put that mirror like that. Then get out your handy dandy tailor's chalk. And I don't know how good this is going to show, but push the mirror down tightly so you know you're in the right place. Take your tailor's chalk, draw that line. Okay, then you have 2 lines here. Lay your acetate, your see-through plastic template material, and draw part of this. Draw the outline of the design so you know exactly where that section is. And then you can take and cut 6 exact copies. So when I saw this, that's what my mind thought. Now, Paula Nadelstern is already known for her kaleidoscope quilts. And what this fabric by Benatex, yeah, I don't know why I always say Benatex, but Benatex, and it's Paula Nadelstern duets. And this is supposed to look like it's already had the kaleidoscope done to it. But I find that these, like even something like these little black dots, can create really interesting designs. So thank you to the sweetie that got me this. Boy, that's a generous yard. Hold on a second. I'm looking at this going, really? Okay, 1, 2. Oh, this is more than a yard. Bless them. Maybe I did buy more. I don't know, but that's more than a yard. Thank you. All right, so I got that. Yay. Love pineapple fabrics. Then maybe I ordered this before I went to the thing, because I got some, and I love this grass material because it is less specific. Oh, Alberta, hi, sweetheart. But it's a little bit less specific. It's more muted, so you can add taller grass here and still have it work. So I got that, and then you won't believe this. I saw this and said, oh my gosh, this is so cool. So sometimes I love a good border. Let me come up here and show you. Look at this. Is that the coolest? So thank you so much. And boy, am I going to have fun. You know what? I haven't done a solid fabric quilt in a while, but wouldn't that be a great border on a solid fabric quilt? So I would say I'm spoiled rotten right now. Yes, I would. Yes, I would. So there is my exploding heart quilt. And you can see it's hanging on a diagonal. One thing I didn't realize, it is a big quilt. It's like 79 and a half by 79 and a half. And then I'm going to add a border. So we're talking about big, 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 big. So let me see. But I'm pretty sure it's 79 and a half by 79 and a half. But I love how, depending on the placement, you get that heart. And I love that someone drew this pattern. I couldn't imagine designing this. But let me show you. This is how you have to lay it out. And you do row by row. And I wanted to have more done for you. I got up a little early today and started sewing on it. But oh my goodness, no, it takes a little time. The one thing is I've got pretty definite, strong colors. And I had to make sure that I didn't have them repeat or glom together too much. I figured that if once I get it put together, if I've got too much in one place, I will simply hand take it apart and sew in a new block. I'm not going to let it worry me. That was one thing. In fact, our teacher, what was her name? Deb, she was another Deb, which I was tickled with. And she was great. She was like, don't let anything worry you. And it just made it a nice, relaxed class. So that was very nice. And we had our own whole table because of COVID. They're trying not to, close us in too tight. But you know what? I had my latest booster back, October, and I didn't come home sick. So it does work. It really does work. All right. So I think what we should do is go look at show and tell for you. And then when we come back, I'm going to kind of give you a quick little tutorial on how to make some of these odd looking blocks. Okay, so and I've got more than half of my video done. I hate editing videos. I hate it. So it's taken me way too long. And one night at the hotel, I worked on it for like 5 hours. And I thought, I'm making good progress. And I didn't know what I did, but all of a sudden, the little photo images dispersed throughout the entire thing. So I took a deep breath. I closed the computer lid and put it away. Because at that point, I wanted to sail the computer off my 3rd floor balcony. And I said, you can't do that, Deb. So I wanted to toss it. Thank you. So is Debbie Burmer. Thank you, Lisa. Oh, is Melissa going? Bye, Melissa. So good seeing you, hon. All right, let's go look at your show and tell. Let me turn off this lamp here. Let me see how my new camera arm is going to work. Boy, am I lucky to get this. All right. Whoops. Well, hold on. Whoops. Don't touch the microphone so much. Hold on. Oh, I know that sounds awful. Okay. Tilt it. The thing is, I can get it level now. Oh, that's wonderful. One day I'm going to try to learn the software system that my son has tried to teach me so many times. Oh, that poor man. I feel bad for him. Okay. Let's go to show and tell. Also, my computer downloaded all kinds of new things now, and it's harder to find my stuff. So I'm a little frustrated, but I liked it the way it was. Why they have to do newfangled things, I'll never know. So I think I have to go to pictures, and then I have to go to July 14th. Okay, here we go. Alberta, she has been busy. She made this quilt for her church. Let me make sure y'all are still there. Hold on a second. Oh, good. It's working. I'm sorry. Sorry to bother you. I'll be right back. Okay, go back to the pictures. Alberta made this this quilt for a church, local church, and it's a t-shirt quilt, and she did a wonderful job of backing those t-shirts to make a smooth quilt. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? Now, I'm sure she told me who it's for, and I apologize. I have forgotten. Sorry. Look at these bowls. She made those. These are like the bowl warmers you put under a bowl to heat it up in the microwave. She made all those gifts for Christmas. She's been a busy lady. Look at this. And she's from down in Alabama. Look at that. That is just wonderful. Way to go. Look at this tie table runner. Look at that. And evidently the person, I think she said, was a pilot that she made it for. And so there's a flying theme throughout the ties. That is just wonderful. Very, very talented Miss Alberta. Now let's see who's next. Alexis. Yeah, I'll just show one of these. Miss Alexis is busy working on a craft show for March. Can't wait to hear how she does. Her hand embroidery is beautiful. So way to go, Miss Alexis. She's finishing up with college. Talk about a busy young woman. But we are so proud of her. Now this is from Brenda. Oh, yes. I want to make sure Brenda sends me some new pictures because I think this is the last week to show these. I love the way she finished the back of this quilt with some applique and that wonderful quilt label. She's better at labeling her quilts than I am. Look at this applique work. Talk about a happy quilt. Come on, let me try to make it bigger. There it is. Isn't that amazing? I love it. That's a chair there and all the flowers. Oh, look, a garden view. Speaking of flowers, I have to remember to tell you before I go what I'm planning on. And there's our Miss Brenda. I love that she sent us a picture of herself. That's terrific. All right, so let's see who is next. Miss Carol. Well, Miss Carol is always busy. And she and my Mary have been in a class. It's like a group that you join of stitchers, and they do magnificent work. But here's a wonderful quilt that Miss Carol was working on and got it finished. Beautiful. Then look at this. Oh my gosh, I love those hexies. And I love that the hexies form a kind of six-pointed star. Kind of, you at one view you see triangles, another view you see a nice star. And then look at her stitching work. Is that amazing? She gave me some great ideas as I'm trying to finish Alex Anderson stitching. And I think this is her work from that class that she has been taking with Mary. But that is amazing. I love her imagination. I would love to meet her one day because she has got a powerful imagination. That is terrific, a real artist. So thank you, Miss Carol. Now let's see who is next this time. Oh, I don't think I have a little bit to show later. Oh, yes. This will probably be the last time I'll show this for Miss Debbie. But boy, it that this fabric can really make the quilt. That is magnificent. And it reminds me of a Black Eyed Susan, but with extra rainbow petals. Beautiful. Okay, let's see who is next. Diana. Yes. Remember how I was saying, I know that Diana had been sent Diana's final block. She's the one that designed our free snow globes. Not too late to get your free pattern. She was the designer of our snow globe quilt. And here is her finish. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? I love it. I love it. And I love these applique snowflakes. You know what? Let me make sure y'all are still there. Okay, y'all are. I'm seeing a little fuzziness, so I wasn't sure. But I don't want to lose y'all. Okay. So now, thank you, Diana. It is an absolutely beautiful quilt. All right. And now, Dolores. Dolores's grandson. Boy, guess who got Nana's artistic genes? Look at what he did of his dog. Isn't that wonderful? There he is hard at work. He's only, I think, 14. Very talented young man. Then this is one of her commissioned artworks. Look at that. I'm wondering if she used that filane thread, the one that you stitch it on and then you use a stiff brush and you can brush it into a furry feeling. That is gorgeous. And then look at this owl quilt she did. I love that. That was a gift also. Beautiful. That's the picture that the grandson made the wonderful quilt from. And then here is a class she's been taking. Look at, she just uses scraps of random fabrics just to get the light and dark, shades to go under, and then comes in and does the most immaculate thread work to make that come alive. That is wonderful, Miss Dolores. Wonderful. Okay. Oh, I know there is something I do want to show you. I want to, hold on just a second. I want to show you Pat and I. Here we are. Which one is it? Let me see. Oh, I've got so many pictures. Here it is. Pat came to see me at the Myrtle Beach quilt party, and I was so, so happy to see her. So she's doing really well, and I was really tickled. So I wanted to make sure to show you that. But boy, you wait till you see some of the show and tell we're going to have for you. So, okay. Now let me see. Let me close this. No, I got to go back to where I was. I don't like this new system. Why do they feel like they have to change things? It must be a guy making that decision. Because we women, we get it just the way we want. Then it's like, leave it be. All right, here we go. All right, now it is. Oh, let me just show you real quick. Our January, it is called The Woodland Waterfall. And my inspiration photo was this one. Whoops, nope, not that one. Pardon me. Let me go back. Here is the inspiration photo. And this is what we're working on every Thursday night. So we'll come back to that this week. Yay. All right. And now let me go back. All right. Miss Jody. Miss Jody's been so busy. You know that. And you can tell she's feeling so much better. Boy, we missed her. She saw this in a quilt shop and she said, I want to make that. Now, I'm not sure that would be my reaction to seeing thousands and thousands of little tiny square pieces hanging on a wall. But you know what? She's going to make it work. She's amazing. But look at that. Bunch of 9 patches. Now, they're not a true 9 patch. They're like an elongated 9 patch. There are 9 patches there, but the center cross, they're bigger. Now, I should realize Miss Jody got through doing that last year and this one last year, block of the week. But look, she's now doing her shirting fabric quilt and this one. That is just amazing. Circa 1889 patch. Isn't that wonderful? Here is her shirting quilt progress. She's doing a beautiful job of it. And if you are interested in sharing some of your shirting fabrics with her, I sent her some shirting fabrics and she was so sweet to use them. So, what a great project. And you know, this is what Miss Jody is known for. Oh my gosh, is that striking or what? I love it. And I love the background because I always think of it, to me as a kid, it seemed to always come out around Halloween each year. And I just love that wonderful background. Okay, so now we're on to the next. But we're so glad that Miss Jody is doing so well. Let's see. Miss Mary, she's been busy. Okay, so this is, I think, called Egg. Was this her bird or bird? Maybe because it's an egg. It's going to be a bird. But I love her comfort level with doing Scrappy. And look at this wonderful quilt. I wish I could get, oh, there we go. She has now come back and put more fluffy little bits of snowflakes on. And that is so cute. I love it. And that was this year's, we just did a curvy tree, a quick and easy curvy tree. All done. And then look what she did. She painted fabric and did I think, is she calling them bulrushes or the seagrass? And it's beautiful. She did a great job. Then she took a class, and this is one of the people in that group. She wanted to show me that woman's work. That is wonderful. The woman's a graphic artist. Oh my gosh, so talented. There's another one of her bird quilt. She is loving collage. Oh, that's why. There's a bird. Okay, I see it now. A bird and a moon. In the class that she was doing, a workshop called Stitch Camp, they took and painted, using acrylics, painted their own fabric, designed their own fabric, then cut it all apart. And look at these designs. It's amazing. And then they piece things back together. This is, let me see. This might be hers. I'm not sure if this is hers or someone else's, but look at that wonderful piece. Look at that. That's terrific. I think that is hers. So, and you just embellish, and it's a chance to let your mind run free. This is someone else's painted fabric in the class. And I just think it's wonderful. Now, that Carol's in the same, oh, one was B. Bernasconi. She had this image right here. That was her work. Just gorgeous. I love that. You know, it's a good thing to try that because, oh, and this one's Robin West painted fabric. Just beautiful. I love the torn edges. And so anyway, let's see. Now who are we doing? But I love that she looks for opportunities to learn and grow as an artist. Maria. Oh, yes. This is wonderful. Maria is working on recreating her puppies that picture into a tree skirt for her daughter-in-law. And I think she's doing a magnificent job. I hope that her patterning and placement is wonderful. Look at that. That was, I think, from our winter landscape last year. Love it. So way to go. I can't wait to see what that looks like. Way to go, Maria. All right. And I'll show you one more time Marsha's wonderful crochet work. She is so talented at that. And now let's see who's next. Mary's there. This is going to be the last of her wonderful crazy quilt. So happy that she's feeling so much better and able to create. You know, that has been true for history, that people who have enough to eat and are safe can then make amazing artwork. But until those needs are met, it is impossible. But look at that face. Willow is now maybe 8 months old. Oh, she's so cute. Or 7 months old. She's just precious. Look at that. Who wouldn't love that little puppy? She said she is kind of feeling her oats. And here's our Melanie with her beloved dog. They didn't know how much they needed that little girl. Isn't that wonderful? All right. Very good birthday present from that hubby. And then I will show you one more time with Myrtle from Turkey. Look at this amazing signature work. Worrying about pollution in the ocean. Wonderful job. I want to get back in touch with her and see if she has anything more she's been able to do. And then Miriam. Oh, yes, this is the last time to share Miss Miriam's work. So we'll get some more from Miss Miriam sometime soon. But I love her sense of humor and her ability to turn crochet into works of art. We appreciate all forms of art, whether it's painting, crocheting, whatever. We love it all. This is Nancy Lynn, who has Sew Euphoria. And don't forget, Canadian artisan Carol has her own YouTube channel. So give these girls a peek. They are good artists. And I love people who put themselves out there on YouTube or websites and help encourage artistic natures in us all. But wonderful job. Okay, so thank you, Miss Nancy. Now let's see who is next here. Nazrin, oh, talented lady. I am going to make a pattern of this for us for next year. And we're going to do at some point a triptych, which is a piece of work in 3 pieces. And very talented lady. Oh, and this polar bear. Isn't that just the cutest? And I love the embellishing with all kinds of, here's metal charms. And I mean, I love that. Everything goes now in art and in quilting and in fabric projects. And I love it. Polly was real busy over Christmas, but took the time to learn how to do fabric weaving. Yes, those are woven fabrics on, what are they called? Not counting blocks, but I love that. You know, I did have a chance to go to Pompeii, and they have an original mosaic with tumbling blocks. Thank you. That's what that is, tumbling blocks. So I was so tickled to see a 2,000-year-old stone mosaic tumbling blocks. So who says there's new stuff out there? All right. And who else? Robin. Oh my gosh. I can't wait to see more of Robin's work. Look at the layering and the stitching. And that's amazing. Way to go. beautiful. And I love how she frames it in a wood look type fabric, because these are works of art and they deserve that same attention as any work of art. Isn't that wonderful? Look at those bears. So I would love to know more about Robin and her process. Wonderful, wonderful. But lots and lots of layering. And that's somebody who's very dedicated to their art. And this, oh yes, this was Miss Sandra's, SJ's house in England. And I've got to get in touch with a lot of you. So, but please know, if you check in, we're thinking of you. We love you much. And we hope that you can come back and visit soon. Sue is working on a covered bridge project. And look at that. It's wonderful. And what she did, you know, I've told you before, you can draw pretty much anything if you break it down into bite-sized pieces. And so I normally try to take a photograph and fold it in 16 pieces. Then that way you draw just what you see in that. And it makes it so much easier to get the perspective right, to get the size right. Because when you just start out drawing on something, that can be overwhelming. But you can draw just about anything by doing what she's done here. That's terrific. And here's the original photo. Isn't that gorgeous? So I can't wait to see what she makes with that. I think she was traveling to New Zealand, so it might be a while before we hear from her. All right. I think that is it for right now. So what I'm going to do, oh, honey, we love, Carol, we love what you do. We love your channel. I enjoyed when I came and watched several of your videos. So hopefully, as soon as I get my act together, I'm going to come back and enjoy some more. All right, I'm going to show you something really quickly. I'm going to show you some real easy ways to make half square triangles. And I'll give you some hints, okay? Now, some of you have rulers that are made to draw lines on the back of fabric so that you can easily make half square triangles. Well, I'm going to show you something I like to do because I'm lazy. And not really, but I hate drawing on fabric. When you try to draw on fabric, let me get a ruler here. When you try to draw on fabric, the fabric wants to bunch up and it doesn't want to lay flat, and it just irritates me to no end. So let me show you this. Let me come down. Whoops. Okay, here we go. I love that I can do this. Whoops, don't go anywhere. Oh, this is loose. Okay. Let me, I'm not sure how to tighten that one. I moved it when I was doing the photos. Oh, well, you're going to have the microphone right there. Okay. So what I'm going to do, what you do is you take, I don't have one of those special rulers, but there's several different ways you can do it. One thing you can do is put a ruler and go from corner to corner. Then this is a 1/4 inch little ruler. So then you would take and draw a line, and that's the line you're going to sew on. Let me do this. Well, I'll just try to draw taller. So then what you would do is come back in and put this on this corner. Now, there are rulers that make this much faster, but you get the main ruler on the exact corners, then come put this piece up against it, and then draw the lines. Okay, so now what you have is you have a 1/2 inch space here. If you sew on each line, then you can cut down the middle. Now, some people just take and draw a line down the edge down the center like this. But see how the fabric moves? That bugs me. And so what if you draw a line down the center, which I didn't get it very centered, but you draw it down the center, then you take and just sew a 1/4 inch on either side of that line. How I like to do it, let me see if I can fix this. Oh, okay. No, come on. Hold on, guys. I'm sorry. It works. It's just I moved it. I loosened it so I could do the pictures, and it was tricky. All right. What I like to do is I like to fold the square in half, making sure, whoops, it would help if you were looking at the fabric, wouldn't it? I like to fold the square in half, okay, making sure that those points, the fabric is folded at those points. Then I come in here and I press a crease. And then if you open it back up, you should have a crease that runs from this point to that point. And then you can follow that. Use that instead of doing a line. So let me show you real quickly.